Sarah Weatherill is the lady who, for so many years, was spending, well, I read here, the thick end of £5,000 a year on high caffeine energy drinks, and she's on the line. Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Hello, good morning. How do you spend £5,500, Sarah, on high caffeine energy drinks?
I'll be honest, I didn't know how I did it, to be fair. You don't really see it at the time, you know, when you're buying it like little bits here and there, and that was kind of like the kick up the backside I needed, really, when I sat down and did the maths and realised exactly how much I was spending. It made me feel quite ill.
And you were addicted, were you?
Yeah, it was definitely a dependency. If I didn't have one in the morning, I felt really awful. I mean, I'd tried to give it up in the past, but withdrawal was, wow. I don't know how to describe it, really. My body wouldn't function properly. I wouldn't function properly if I didn't have Red Bull in the morning. So,
what would you get? Would you get headaches and dizziness and things like that?
It was a feeling like, in the morning, it was more a feeling of total heaviness and lethargy. So, of course, in my head it was, okay, I need an energy drink, you know, to kind of give me a boost. But actually that's all wrong. It's kind of like a false energy, if you like, because actually now I'm not having any of the stuff. I actually feel a lot better.
I tell you what, it begs the question, Sarah, how you actually got to sleep if you were consuming so much caffeine.
Well, I actually think it started off as like I could take it or leave it. It wasn't a dependency from the off, and then of course like the 2 cans weren't enough, so I developed like a tolerance. I suppose like, I don't know, people with alcohol, I suppose, you know, you develop a tolerance on a night out and you need a bit more to get a bit merry. It was kind of like that, I suppose. You know, so that's how it kind of got out of control, because 2 wasn't enough, so I drank 4. And then yeah, that's how it went. It was just crazy, and then that's how it got to the level it did.
Sarah, you were told that it could be harmful to you personally, your body, if you just stopped drinking. It reached such a stage of addiction. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Sudden withdrawal, you know, to stop drinking it just like that without weaning yourself off, it can actually cause seizures. So it was quite a long process, you know, to go from the high level that I was down to about 8 cans a day before I actually saw David. So
yeah. Well, we'll introduce everyone to David in just a second. What were you doing? Were you buying them in crates of Red Bull at the cash and carry or something?
No, it was more like Asda and stuff like that, and I actually got to a point where I tried to be shopping around for the best deal and that kind of thing. I mean, it was like all my Christmases had come at once, you know, like when they had an offer on Red Bull. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but yeah, and it was more buying in bulk, which is how I think I got to that level in the first place, you know.
And also a lot of sugar, or was it the diet version?
Well, I used to go for sugar-free because, ironically, I thought it was a healthier option.
Well, I suppose it is a healthier option.
But
yeah.
I don't know about that. But yeah, and obviously if they didn't have sugar-free, I was like, I don't care, just give me the sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a cup, just finally, before we go to the hypnotherapist, a really strong cup of double espresso wouldn't have replaced the can of the energy drinks?
Well, to be honest, I really don't like coffee. So, I mean, I did force myself, you know, to try and like coffee and that kind of thing. You know, obviously, because I knew it was an expensive habit with the Red Bull, but
okay.
I just couldn't take to it.
Well, let's just introduce David Kilmurry, the private hypnotherapist practitioner. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning to you, Danny.
Good morning. Have you ever come across a story like this before?
On a quite a regular basis, I have.
With energy drinks?
With caffeine addictions. Energy drinks are rife. There's nothing healthy, I need to also say, about Red Bull. There's absolutely nothing healthy about it. You will not see any professional athlete drinking Red Bull. The amount that Sarah was consuming was enough to put the body into shock if she stopped immediately. So she did have to wean herself off gradually.
And so when you were approached, it wasn't unusual to have someone caffeine addicted. And what's your approach to that then, David? If it's so dangerous and risky just to come off immediately, with hypnotherapy, did you need... I thought there was just the one session.
It was just the one session. On the telephone consultation, I'll make sure that the person's aware and prepared and positioned and ready for the actual. I mean, Sarah's quite a healthy person now, but we went for two. They kind of went hand in hand, but we did a session which actually got rid of Sarah's Red Bull addiction and her cigarette addiction in one foul swoop. They do go hand in hand. You can't necessarily hypnotise someone and help them to get through depression, say for example, and an addiction at the same time. But because cigarettes, the addiction psychology works for both, we managed to do both in that one foul swoop. And good luck to her. She's doing extremely well.
Which is remarkable.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a physical addiction than a psychological addiction, is it?
A little bit of both. There's some physiological withdrawals, like the sweats and so on, and she'll have gone through those in build up to it as well. The body would have gone into mild shock as well, and there was, if she'd just come straight off, there was a serious risk of seizure or fit, and involuntary sort of spasms and so on. I have had clients that have had serious twitches, serious body twitches, facial twitches, and that's as a result of caffeine. Caffeine is a drug, although it's obviously seen as something that we have on a daily basis. And some of us love a cup of tea, and as Brits we do. We just have a cup of tea any time of the day or whenever we're stressed. But the caffeine is actually a stressor. It does put pressure on us and does stimulate us when sometimes we do need to do the opposite, which is to really, really relax.
Sarah, did you have any facial twitches?
My boyfriend said that I had twitches. I can't say I really noticed it myself.
No.
But yeah, he
maybe
said
it is a physical reaction.
Possibly, yeah.
And what was it like? So you had 50 minutes on the couch with David, and then all of a sudden you woke up. Or listen, I'm just painting a rather pantomime picture here for the audience. So you were under the spell of hypnosis, and then 3, 2, 1, you're back in the room. And then did you think, right, where's the fridge? I need a can, or what? Tell us how you felt.
Well, it kind of wasn't like that. Like David said, it was like a 2-hour session, and really the hypnosis itself was like 50 minutes. I don't know. I just felt that I'd be more able to cope, with it. I could potentially go to a supermarket and pass the Red Bull and and leave it on the shelf rather than that overwhelming urge where I'd get like the sweats and the overwhelming compulsion to just buy it there and then. Even if I had it in the fridge, I'd just to stock up and make sure my supply was going. But obviously the hypnotherapy.
Yeah, what difference has it made to you, Sarah, finally, please?
It's made a tremendous difference, not just financially, but in my health in general. I feel a lot better. I feel confident, to the point that I've actually entered the wolf run. But yeah, it's incredible, and I would say to those out there that struggling with a dependency to seek help. It's tremendous.
Okay, Sarah, thank you. I'm delighted that you have released yourself of this addiction. David, is there anything that you can't treat a patient for with hypnosis?
That's quite a question, really. I deal with recognised medical illnesses, psychosomatic illnesses. If it's stress-related, then, or it's something that's a learned behaviour. And we're born with a fear of falling and the fear of loud noises, and the rest of it we learn on the way. Hypnosis or cognitive behavioural therapy, which is what I specialise in, and obviously the hypnosis is something that I do as well, is very powerful. It's recognised within the NHS as a viable medical intervention nowadays. And I have treated a number of things, and it does surprise me sometimes as well, being a sceptic. I do sit on the fence and just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, remarkable.
But yeah, it is remarkable.
Yeah. David, just a final question. Britain's Got Talent. That dog can't hypnotise anyone, can it?
I've not watched it, I'm afraid.
You must have heard about it, though.
No, I'm sorry, I haven't.
You haven't heard about the hypnotising dog? One glance and people just collapse.
I haven't heard of that.
Google it. It'll make your day. David,
okay, thank you.
Britain's Got Talent. Nice to speak to you both. Thank you. Yeah.